Today, you cannot cross a border without permission. A small booklet decides where you may travel, how long you may stay, whether you are welcome. It fits in your pocket, but it controls your world. The passport feels ancient, inevitable, permanent. But for most of human history, it did not exist. In fact, there was a time, not so long ago, when large parts of the world had no passport requirements at all. You could board a ship in Europe and arrive in America without documents. No biometric scan, no visa approval, no checkpoint barriers. So what changed? The answer lies in war and in fear. This is the true origin of passports and how global conflict reshaped human freedom. For most of history, borders were fluid. Empires rose and fell, but everyday people moved constantly. Traders crossed continents, pilgrims journeyed across kingdoms, workers migrated for harvests. In medieval Europe, rulers sometimes issued letters of safe conduct. These documents protected diplomats or merchants, but they were rare and situational. There was no global system, no standardized travel ID. Even in the 1800s, passports were inconsistent and often optional. In fact, by the late 19th century, many European countries had abolished passport requirements entirely. Travel was becoming freer, not stricter. Steamships and railways made international movement easier than ever. Millions emigrated to the United States, and most arrived without a passport. Freedom of movement was expanding until war intervened. In 1914, Europe descended into catastrophe. World War I shattered trust between nations. Governments feared spies, saboteurs, deserters. Movement became suspicious. Suddenly, identification was no longer convenience, it was security. Countries began requiring documents to cross borders, temporary wartime measures. At least, that was the expectation. But temporary systems have a way of becoming permanent. As governments built bureaucracies to monitor movement, they discovered something powerful: control. The passport was no longer a courtesy letter. It became a tool of state authority. After World War I, international travel did not simply return to pre-war freedom. Instead, new systems were formalized. In 1920, the League of Nations held a conference to standardize passports. The result? The modern passport booklet, uniform size, photograph included, personal details recorded. For the first time in history, identity was systematized globally. Travel now required state recognition. The right to move became conditional. War had ended open borders, but governments did not give them back. The passport did more than regulate travel. It reshaped power dynamics. Governments could now deny exit, deny entry control, migration track populations. In authoritarian regimes, passports became instruments of restriction. In democratic societies, they were framed as protection. The same booklet meant different things in different places. For some, it meant opportunity. For others, confinement. The 20th century would prove how decisive this document could be. During World War II, passports and visas determined survival. Thousands of refugees were denied entry because they lacked proper documentation. Paper determined fate. Chapter 5. The Paradox of Modern Freedom. Today, global travel is faster than ever. Airplanes cross oceans in hours. Yet movement is more regulated than at any time in pre-modern history. We call this the age of globalization. But globalization exists alongside strict border control. The passport is now biometric, digitized, embedded with chips. The justification remains security, but the system created during World War I has never been dismantled. What began as emergency wartime policy became permanent global structure. Who controls movement? A passport is not just identity. It reflects geopolitics. Some passports allow visa-free access to hundreds of countries. Others restrict movement severely. The place of your birth determines your mobility. In theory, all humans share equal rights. In practice, mobility is unequal. The passport became a global ranking system. It sorts citizens by access. It assigns opportunity. It encodes power into paper. Could the world return to open borders? Before 1914, open travel across much of Europe and North America was normal. After 1918, it was not. Could it ever return? Modern governments argue that global threats, terrorism, crime, instability, require identification systems. And perhaps they do. But the historical reality remains. For most of modern history, passports were unnecessary. It was war, not technology, that normalized restriction. Conclusion. The booklet that changed the world. The passport feels permanent, but it is barely a century old in its modern form. It was born not from tourism, but from fear. Not from globalization, but from war. Before 1914, movement was expanding. After 1918, it was regulated. The world did not slowly evolve into border control. It was pushed there by conflict. The passport is a reminder that freedom can contract as quickly as it expands.